Hi, everybody. Ron Placone here. You're watching another summary from the Indie Bohemians morning show. So this morning, we talked about an alternate article that claims that people, Americans, are turning away from organized religion in record numbers. Had a few Pew polls that indicate that more and more people are just not identifying with organized religion. They're identifying as a none, quote unquote, which means they're either an atheist, agnostic, a deist, a humanist, a secular humanist. Now, 30% of these people, generally, according to these polls, do believe that there is some kind of supreme being out there. They do believe in some kind of God. 20% of them do pray on a daily basis. And we talked about some thoughts as to why that is, because that's a category that I myself do fall into. I do not identify with any organized religion. And I don't know what you would necessarily consider me, but I like to think of myself as a spiritual, as agnostic. Meaning, I think there's something out there, and I really do feel like there is something out there beyond our understanding that is a supreme power, but I certainly don't subscribe to a lot of the theories any organized religion that I've ever come across has, and I can't necessarily prove anything one way or the other, so I am a searching skeptic that is always searching for truth and is always pursuing the truth. And I do think that if there is a supreme being out there that is judging us, the people, that if you tried to pursue truth and if you tried your best to learn more, that is, all that supreme being could ask for. But I don't know, and I don't impose that on anybody else because I have no clue. That's just, the short summary of my personal religion. I don't know, and neither do you. So let's just try to treat each other nice. But anyway. So that is happening in record numbers. More people that feel that way that are acknowledging themselves as such. So some thoughts as to why that is. I think a lot of times a religion has explanation for things that are quite inexplicable, things that we quite don't know. And these explanations can slowly increase in their absurdity in a lot of cases. And I'm basing a lot of this off my personal experience. I was raised Catholic, and, there were a lot of answers to a lot of questions that I found very unsatisfactory. There were a lot of social teachings that I did not agree with, that I thought were very insensitive and kind of went against some of the principles that I was taught, some of the stances on gay people and so forth. Well, what about the whole thou shalt not judge part? I'm kind of confused here. So there were a lot of messages that as I got older, as a teenager, I felt really disconnected from, and I didn't feel were right. So eventually I said, no, thank you. And I think a lot of times, more and more people are doing that because I think a lot of times when people cling to an organized religion, it's because of the sense of community it gives them. It's because of the connection that they feel with their fellow community and their fellow believers, and they connect with a lot of the basic principles. And using my Catholicism example, people connect with the principles of charity, of peace, of treating your neighbor right, stuff like that. Those are all good principles. I think those principles are 110% right on. It's a lot of this other stuff where I'm like, I don't feel like I can subscribe to this, so I'm going to kind of go over here. And I think now with this generation, because that sense of community that our parents' generation had is not what it used to be, more and more people are saying no thank you and are kind of seeing a more positive society being a more secular society. Because, what was once a kind of peacenik, hippie, Christian religion is now represented by the Pat Robertsons of the world, and the televangelism has taken over. And, like Catholicism even is more represented by a Rick Santorum now and stuff like that. Does this represent all the people that practice those religions? Of course not. I know a ton of very good, free-thinking, open-minded people that still subscribe to various religions. I have friends that still identify as Catholic. I have friends that identify as Baptist even, that certainly do not fall into those rigid categories that you often see in the press and stuff like that. So I'm not trying to pigeonhole anybody, nor am I trying to, say that anyone's right or wrong, but I do think that because that sense of community connected to an organized religion has changed greatly, my generation, the millennial generation, is distancing themselves from it in a greater magnitude, because that community, once associated, is lost. And now my generation is having kids. Those kids are not going to be brought up with any type of religious beliefs. And, you know, when you see a lot of the stuff going on in our populace, when you see justifications for homophobia, justifications for discrimination, people killing each other in the name of religion, and this is a worldwide problem, right? And it goes all over the place, and you see all these kind of absurdities out there. It's hard not to think, well, a secular society might be a kind of a-okay way to go. And then someone like myself and others like me, we've reached that conclusion. Now, one thing that I think a lot of the kind of free thinkers out there, to use a blanketed term, do not have a cool holiday to call their own. And quite frankly, if you really want something to take root, you have to have a cool holiday. And really, you know, we don't have that. I mean, the Atheist Association did give people a free Bad Religion concert, I think, a couple years ago. That was pretty cool. But, you know, that's just one thing. So I was thinking what we need is a skeptic solstice. It happens every June. It's a couple days. Gifts are involved. It doesn't interfere with the winter holidays. And quite frankly, the weather is a lot cooler. Just think about it. Your kid wakes up, hey, happy skeptic solstice, Timmy. Maybe there's someone up above, or maybe it's just a bunch of made-up stories revolving around the sun. Either way, here's an Xbox. Don't forget to think for yourself. I think that would be a pretty cool holiday. We need a skeptic solstice here. But anyway, I think those are some reasons as to why you're seeing this happen, and I think it is going to continue. And leave your thoughts below. What are your thoughts on that? I would appreciate hearing from you. You've been watching a summary from the Indie Bohemians Morning Show. This is Ron Placone, signing out.